North Korea to become part of Russia in 2028. January 30, 2019. We continue to look forward. The future is a combination of possible and impossible options that are absolutely equivalent now. But it can be imagined, based on various open and closed information, outlined and substantiated, and then it will most likely become true. It's time to think, because the great Russian time of troubles is ending. So, let's begin. Now the center of the world is moving to Asia, more specifically, to Southeast Asia. This is an obvious fact recognized by all experts. It is Asia that will develop rapidly. Already now China, Malaysia, India, Indonesia, Vietnam and other countries in the region are ahead of Europe in terms of development rates. The only country in this huge and promising region of the world that is not part of the global financial industrial system is North Korea, or more correctly, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. To put it simply, the next 10 years will be a battle for North Korea, because its potential as a new southeastern economic tiger is obvious, and it is no longer possible to live in isolation in the 21st century. The mass media has long created an image of North Korea as a poor, backward state with a stupid, illiterate population. However, we forget that North Korea is the most closed state in the world, and the world gets all the news about life there from South Korea. And there, the neighboring competitors have criminal liability for disseminating a positive image of Northerners. Indeed, North Korea lives very poorly. The problem of food and social security is very acute. However, let's take simple facts. North Korea has nuclear weapons and delivery vehicles. They have a space program. In order to make a strategic missile capable of carrying a nuclear warhead, it is necessary to have a well-functioning, state-of-the-art scientific and technical base, dozens of factories producing components, and most importantly, highly qualified scientists, engineers, workers. All this is impossible without universities and institutes in the broadest fields of science, without a system of higher and secondary specialized education. That is, there is a basic potential. And the country did it almost independently. It has been under sanctions for decades. And if the US is really afraid of North Korea, then they know that they need to be afraid and resolve the issue. What does North Korea lack to become equal to its industrial neighbors? Limited energy resources, no advanced technologies, only basic ones, and an unresolved food program. If they are given all this, in a matter of years North Korea will become the locomotive of development of the region. It is obvious. The same Koreans are successfully working through the fence, to whom the USA gave a roof, technology and money. But who will give this to the DPRK is the main question in the battle for influence over North Korea. The US is trying to play its usual game with them: blackmail, bribery, threats, sanctions. Trump either announces a meeting with Kim Jong-un or again proclaims him a fiend from hell. The plus-minus game continues. But the US has been an obvious enemy of the Northerners for several generations, and the Americans are unlikely to succeed. China is too huge and, moreover, there are strong ethnic contradictions between the Chinese and Koreans, dating back to the ancient times of ancient Joseon at the turn of our era, at the time when Korea could have become the main state of Southeast Asia. But history has decided in favor of China. There remains another northern neighbor, Russia. Koreans remember that thanks to the USSR their state was created, that 2 generations of their leaders grew up in the USSR. That is, movement towards Russia is quite possible. Last year, Valentina Matviyenko, the head of the Federation Council, visited North Korea and met with Kim Jong-un. "I carried out the order of Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin," conveyed his message. In response, Kim Jong-un, said that he confirms his readiness to come on an official visit to the Russian Federation, she said. At the same time, the leader of the DPRK, according to Matviyenko, does not intend to put off the implementation of this intention for a long time. Now, the time and place of this visit will be agreed upon through diplomatic channels. The head of the Federation Council also said that the meeting with Kim Jong-un lasted more than an hour instead of the planned 30 minutes. She noted that the North Korean leader made a very pleasant impression on her. He is lively, humorous, smiles, laughs, and speaks informally. And at the same time, he is a person who is absolutely proficient in the subject, knows all the nuances of bilateral relations and the international agenda, she said. Is this a coincidence? Of course not. Russia is taking the initiative from the US in the battle for North Korea. In my opinion, within the next 10 years, Russia will begin building a new state which will include not only countries, former Soviet republics, this is a separate topic, but also unexpected states, such as North Korea. Let's imagine that the DPRK enters Russia on the terms of an autonomous republic. The Kim clan remains in power. We have a common border. A huge and most important transport railway corridor between Asia and Europe is created. We get a key strategic position, set up military bases, gaining, practically, control over the Japanese and Yellow Seas. Cool down Japan's ardor. Mutual hatred between Koreans and Japanese also has a long history. Slightly curb the ambitions of China, which is trying to include all of Asia in its fiefdom. We are powerfully stepping on the tail of the USA, for which North Korea is the monster of monsters and considers the entire Pacific Ocean its garden. We transfer preferential energy resources to the ARSK, Autonomous Republic of North Korea, provide security, which takes away all their industrial forces, provide food, transfer our technical and scientific developments, of which we have plenty, we often cannot implement them. And skilled North Koreans, ready, like the South, to work 20 hours a day, are creating a new economic miracle on a global scale. North Korean analogs of Samsung, Kia, Hyundai and other powerful corporations will immediately emerge on our common territory, and the extension of the Trans-Siberian Railway to the port of Wonsan will become the most important artery of Eurasia. These calculations have long been made, only a political decision is needed to connect the railways. Goods from North and South Korea will be able to be delivered to Europe much faster than by sea, as it minimizes the number of border crossings and reduces travel time compared to the alternative sea route. For example, it will take only 14-16 days to transport a container from South Korea to Finland instead of 40-45 days by sea, which goes through the Suez Canal, skirting the whole of Europe. Russian Railways is already implementing a project in the DPRK to modernize the railway line between the port of Rajin, DPRK, and the station of Kazan, RF. In addition, in the port of Rajin, the Russians have leased one of the port terminals for 50 years, where there are modern capacities for handling cargo. Whether the leaders of North Korea want to be part of Russia is a matter of negotiations. As the Korean proverb goes, will a tree without roots grow leaves? And Russia can become these roots for the Korean tree. By the way, the North Korean nuclear problem will also disappear. North Korean strategic forces will simply become part of the Russian armed forces, which will guarantee stability in the Asia-Pacific region. As Valentina Matviyenko noted again after meeting with Korean leader Kim Jong-un, he wants peace and is doing everything possible and impossible to achieve it. It seems to me that joining Russia is possible. This will ensure unconditional peace in this part of the planet. I am deliberately avoiding any socio-political nuances that inevitably arise in such global projects. But the future is possible if we can imagine it.